Artifact perks are vital aspects in pretty much any build you create here inside of Destiny 2. But every couple of months a new season comes out, bringing new content into the game that changes how we play Destiny, one of which is the selection of perks you can choose from in the artifact. Unfortunately, this means some of your favorite builds become irrelevant as soon as a new season is brought into the game, and a new artifact is introduced. But in this video, I aim to provide you a solid and overall well-rounded prismatic hunter build that will stand the test of time, regardless of any current or future artifact perks that come out. Not wasting any time, let's start with the core abilities, exotics, and weapons that make this build what it is. The exotic auto rifle Kvostov is our main weapon of choice for multiple reasons. For one, it doesn't take much thought into using the weapon. Being an auto rifle, you can just lay on the trigger and take advantage of the exotic perk that ricochets bullets to nearby enemies. Picking up orbs will also enhance the ricocheting rounds by providing more damage, allowing the bullet to ricochet off more targets. Kvostov also has shoot to loot, allowing you to pick up orbs from a distance just by simply shooting them. The Kvostov and its ricocheting rounds will synergize perfectly with the arc bolt grenade and threaded spike melee abilities. Both of these abilities, when used, will chain elemental damage to nearby enemies exactly like Kvostov's ricocheting rounds and can be enhanced with a couple of fragments. And the exotic cloak relativism with Spirit of Inmost Light and Syntheseps. I've been absolutely loving this combo since you can recharge both your grenade and melee abilities in under 20 seconds, and not to mention your melee damage increases when you're surrounded. For your super, go ahead and equip Shadow Shot. Just like our exotic weapon Kvostov, Arc Bolt Grenade, and Threaded Spike melee ability, Shadow Shot will pull enemies together, tethering them to each other, and share damage with one another. Because practically everything in this build ricochets off one another, the use of any ability or the Kvostov's ricocheting rounds on a tethered group will cause multiple damage ticks on the same target, clearing out pretty much any room instantly. For aspects, I went with Gunpowder Gamble and Ascension. Gunpowder Gamble to provide yourself with an extra grenade ability and to have a way to stun unstoppable champions. And Ascension if you ever get into a situation where you need to apply the Jolt debuff on enemies that are a bit too close. This aspect will also give you the ability to stun overload champions thanks to Jolt. Moving on to the fragments, first you'll want to equip Facet of Solitude. This will apply the strand debuff Sever onto enemies after you land multiple precision hits. This is going to lower the affected target's damage output by roughly 40%, and since Kvostov is our main weapon in this build, it will be fairly easy to proc this debuff while still dealing damage to nearby enemies. Facet of Grace, just so you generate a bit of extra transcendence energy when you're getting kills with the Kvostov. This fragment, in conjunction with the Arc Bolt Grenade and Threaded Spike, can allow you to become transcendent in what seems like no time. Facet of Ruin is increasing the damage and blast radius of the Gunpowder Gamble grenade, as well as increasing your shatter damage from frozen targets and stasis crystals. Facet of Protection for extra damage resistance when you're surrounded by 3 or more enemies. Facet of Dawn to become radiant at any moment just for simply using your melee ability. This will provide you with extra weapon damage and the ability to stun barrier champions. Getting final blows with your melee ability will turn all nearby allies radiant as well. And lastly, Facet of Dominance. This will allow your Arc Bolt Grenade to also apply the Jolt debuff, giving you a second way to stun overload champions and another way to chain damage to nearby enemies. For your loadout, I recommend you run a grenade launcher with auto-loading holster and disorienting grenades in this build to help with crowd control. It's an extremely useful tool to have, especially in harder or more ad-dense content. For your heavy weapon, use whatever you'd like, but I'm gonna recommend you use a rocket launcher with this build to take out champions in an instant and for boss damage. For stats, go ahead and prioritize Discipline and Resilience. I'm personally rocking tier 9 Discipline, so the Arc Bolt's base cooldown is just under a minute, and tier 9 Resilience for 27% damage resistance. Onto armor mods, equip a heavy ammo finder mod along with a heavy ammo scout to generate some ammo for you and your team after getting some final blows with your Kvostov, and a kinetic siphon mod to generate some orbs of power when getting multi-kills with the Kvostov as well. One kinetic loader mod to increase Kvostov's reload speed, one impact induction for grenade energy every time you deal damage with a threaded spike, and one momentum transfer for melee energy when you deal damage with the Arc Bolt Grenade. One concussive dampener mod to reduce the damage from enemy AoE attacks such as grenades, and seeing as a void super is being used, 2 harmonic resistance mods for extra resistance from void attacks, but use whatever you're comfortable with here on the chest piece. One recuperation mod for instant health on every orb pickup, along with the kinetic weapon surge and absolution mods for 10% more damage with Kvostov and to reduce all ability cooldowns whenever an orb is picked up. And lastly, a time dilation mod to increase the uptime on kinetic weapon surge, and 2 bomber mods to lower the Arc Bolt Grenade's cooldown with every dodge activation. The gameplay loop cannot be any more simpler. Just shoot things with the Kvostov, ricocheting damage to all nearby enemies. After 2 kills in rapid succession, an orb will spawn. Shoot any distant orb to enhance Kvostov and its ricocheting bullets. Periodically, pull out your blinded grenade launcher for a bit of crowd control. When you feel the need to use your abilities, first you should use your grenade to jolt the crowd. Follow up with a threaded spike melee to activate Spirit of Inmost Light ×2. Now your grenade will have a super fast cooldown, and when the threaded spike melee comes back, you can catch it to refill a portion of your melee melee energy. In some instances, you can fully refill your melee energy when catching the threaded spike. Don't forget about dodging either. That's another way to keep Spirit of Inmost Light's improved ability regeneration timer going. And if you have Gambler's Dodge equipped, you can fully refund your threaded spike in the process. Becoming Transcendent with this build can happen without you really putting in much effort. And when you do become Transcendent, you'll have the ability to spam the Hellfire spike grenades and all of your other abilities thanks to the perk combo Spirit of Inmost Light and Syntheseps. And that's what I call the Ricochet build. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments, subscribe for more, and thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.